As soon as the phone stops ringing, I'll begin this affidavit. Lord, it's hot in here. Perhaps I should open a window. 13 rings. It has a sense of humor. I suppose that ought to be comforting. Somehow, I'm not comforted. If it feels free to indulge in these teasing, tormenting little games, so much the worse for me. The summer is over now, but this room is like an oven. My shirt is already drenched, and this pen feels slippery in my hand. In a moment or two, the little drop of sweat that's collecting above my eyebrow is going to splash onto this page. Just the same, I'll keep that window closed. Outside, through the dusty panes of glass, I can see a boy in red spectacles sauntering toward the courthouse steps. Perhaps there's a telephone booth in the back. A sense of humor. That's one quality I never noticed in it. I saw only a deadly seriousness, and of course, an intelligence that grew at terrifying speed, malevolent and inhuman. If it now feels itself safe enough to toy with me before doing whatever it intends to do, so much the worse for me. So much the worse, perhaps, for us all. I hope I'm wrong. Though my name is Jeremy, derived from Jeremiah, I'd hate to be a prophet in the wilderness. I'd much rather be a harmless crank. But I believe we're in for trouble. That was from The Events at Perothe Farm by T.E.D. Klein, one of the fantastic stories you'll find in this American Supernatural Tales, edited by S.T. Joshi. Yes, it looks a little bit strange, but this is a Penguin classic, believe it or not. This was a line of Penguin horror classics that came out a few years ago. I think there was about 5 or 6 of them. And the series was edited by Guillermo del Toro, the fantastic filmmaker, made Pan's Labyrinth and the first 2 Hellboy movies, the good Hellboy movies. He did those. And he edited this series of books. Most of them were, he just chose basically, mostly some Penguin classics that already existed. And they put them in this set. This one, which is an anthology by S.T. Joshi, was one of them. Frankenstein was one of them. There was a Lovecraft volume. There was a Poe volume. And I'm forgetting what the other one was. I probably should have written that down. But there was a few of them, and they all had these kind of really garish, crazy covers. Like I said, this anthology, American Supernatural Tales, you can get as a regular Penguin Classics volume. I believe it just has a picture of a black cat on the front. It's not scary. It's pretty hard to make cats scary. But this volume has a much more interesting cover, I believe. This was an interesting set of books. For the life of me, I don't know why Dracula wasn't in this set, but I remember specifically that Dracula was not in this set, which is annoying because it'd be kind of cool to have one of these. So they all had the dust jacket free hardcovers here. They all have a quote on the back. They all have these crazy covers. They've got the black ink down the side there, and the sides of the page is all kind of shade darker there. So it was an interesting set, and that's how the story beginnings look. That's the story I just read from, which is a fantastic story by T.E.D. Klein. So this volume, American Supernatural Tales, it's an interesting anthology. Library of America came out with a 2-volume set of, I think it was called American Fantastic Tales, something like that. Again, probably should have written that down before I came in here to do this video, but I didn't. But they came out with a 2-volume anthology that was amazing. It's a great anthology. I believe this one came out after that one, and maybe it was a response to that. It's interesting that they did a volume, that Penguin did a volume of American supernatural tales as opposed to just a anthology of supernatural tales. But these are all American writers in here, and there's some really, really good ones. This, look at that title page. This S.T. Joshi has picked some great stories. We've got Nathaniel Hawthorne, Edward Randolph's Portrait, Washington Irving, The Adventures of a German Student, which is a really creepy story if you've never read that one. Edgar Allan Poe, of course, makes his obligatory appearance with The Fall of the House of Usher. That could be his best story. I'm not sure it's my favorite, but it could be his best. James O'Brien, What Was It? Ambrose Bierce, The Death of Halpin Frasier. Robert W. Chambers, The Yellow Sign. Henry James has a story, The Real Right Thing. He chose Call of Cthulhu for his Lovecraft story. Clark Ashton Smith is in here with The Vaults of Yovambi, which I read a little bit from. That was also in the Penguin Classics Clark Ashton Smith volume, which was fantastic. Robert E. Howard has Old Garfield's Heart, which is a great story. Just a great story. I'm glad Robert E. Howard is in here. Then we got Robert Bloch, August Derleth, Fritz Leiber, Ray Bradbury, the Foghorns in here. Shirley Jackson with The Visit, Richard Matheson, Long Distance Call, Charles Beaumont's in here, and of course T.E.D. Klein, who's a fantastic writer. Didn't write much, but everything he wrote is gold. He's a great horror writer, even though he barely wrote anything. What he did write is fantastic. Much to S.T. Joshi's chagrin, I'm sure, he had to put a Stephen King story in here. He put in Night Surf from 1974. Not the biggest Stephen King fan, S.T. Joshi. Doesn't appreciate Stephen King. And then we've got some new stuff. We've got Dennis Edson, Thomas Ligotti, a Carl Edward Wagner story. Joyce Carol Oates is in here. Caitlin R. Kiernan. I mean, this is just a fantastic anthology. I read it and I just thought it was great. Just one of the best horror anthologies you can pick up, and it's from Penguin. I don't know if you can get this this hardcover volume still. I'm sure you can get it, but I don't know if it's like expensive or not. It might be, but like I said, you can get this as a regular Penguin classic, no problem. And it's just a fantastic anthology. And it's interesting that it is. To me, it's interesting that it's American supernatural tales. What's also is interesting to me about this anthology, particularly since it was chosen by S.T. Joshi, and they're great choices, but not all these stories are supernatural, which I've noticed. The Foghorn, I'm pretty sure that was just a big dinosaur. Maybe I have to read it again, but I think it was just a big dinosaur in a lighthouse, and that was it. I'm not sure there was supernatural in there. Let me know if I'm wrong. The H.P. Lovecraft story, Call of Cthulhu, I'm not sure that's really supernatural either. That's always struck me as being more of a science fiction story with, an ancient alien. The same can go for the Clark Ashton Smith story. Again, science fiction story, a science fiction horror story, but was it really supernatural? Or was it just like parasitic aliens? I don't know. So the supernatural here might be a misnomer. It probably should have just been American horror stories or American horror tales or something like that. Even American weird tales would have worked. But no, it's American supernatural tales, no matter what I might think about how supernatural some of these stories are. But one thing I can tell you is that this is a fantastic volume. It was an interesting set of books. I've only got a few of them. Like I don't have the Frankenstein volume, for example, because the cover was stupid. It really was. The cover to the Frankenstein one was really bad. And I have another 2 Penguin volumes of Frankenstein, so I didn't really need it. I didn't need a complete set of these. But I do think it was kind of an interesting curiosity that it even existed in the first place. Penguin to do horror is interesting to me, that they came up with a line. First of all, Penguin horror, that just sounds funny to me. Penguin horror. If there's one thing that's less scary than cats, it's probably penguins. Yeah. But yeah, Penguin horror. It was an interesting set of books. I'm glad they did it, because horror should get more love, I think. It certainly should get more respect as a genre, I think. So I'm glad that Penguin did that. At least they made the attempt. I wouldn't mind them trying again. Maybe coming out with something maybe a little bit different and maybe a little bit more inclusive. But I'm glad that they made the attempt. And yeah, like I said, interesting set of books. And actually, if you look at Penguin Classics, they've got quite a few horror titles in their line. Quite a few of them. And because it's me doing your Sunday Penguin here, you'll probably see quite a few of them. So, American Supernatural Tales. That was your Sunday Penguin for today. Be back here tomorrow for even more horror with our Mythos Monday. We're doing... what are we doing tomorrow? The Dunwich Horror tomorrow. The Dunwich Horror tomorrow for Mythos Monday. And then I think I've got a tag for Tuesday. Hey, how about that? Okay, guys. I will see you again next time here at stately Vaughan Manor.